Welcome to My Forever Home, the podcast. I'm Frances Cosway and I've helped hundreds of people create forever homes. I can't wait to share the journey with you. So let's start. Hi and welcome everybody to the Your Forever Home podcast. Today we're going to be talking about benchtops, which is a question that I get asked about all the time. And I'm very lucky today to have the lovely Laura Neville from Cosentino. And we're going to be chatting about benchtops and the differences between, this episode's going to cover reconstituted stone, natural stone, and also Dekton, which is a brand of a product. And so I will be actually doing another episode on all the other different types of benchtops available. But today, because we're so lucky to have Laura with us, I really wanted to focus on the three different types of products that Cosentino specialise in. Now, with benchtops, there are so many different types, and I find that people are generally gravitating to brand names rather than a particular product, or they may be gravitating to a particular product just because that's a product they know, rather than really exploring what else may be available that's going to meet their durability and functionality requirements, and also their aesthetics, because each product offers a different variable in terms of its durability, in terms of its maintenance requirements, but also the format that it's available in, which can lead then also to the aesthetic outcome. So we're going to touch on that a little bit today as well, but I'm just going to give a little bit of an introduction on Laura. So Laura's been working for Cosentino for over 2 years, and she's been working closely with White Pebble and is always giving us the information we need and samples. And so we've been working closely together since she started at Cosentino. She actually studied interior design and has a background in advertising and marketing like I do. So that's great that she's now finally working in, materials and so forth for interior design applications. So Laura, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for taking the time out of your day to come on and share your fabulous knowledge. So firstly, what drew you to start working in the stone space? Was there something that made you want to work in, benchtops and stones and so forth?
Look, I think I've always had an interest in every area of interior design, and this fabulous opportunity opened up at Cosentino whilst I was actually on maternity leave, and it was just the perfect time for me to take the jump into such a great company. So I couldn't turn it down.
Yeah, and it's funny that you actually came while you were on mat leave, and then you were replacing someone that was on mat leave. So
I did, yeah,
which was
but
we're lucky that Laura's not going anywhere. So
right.
which is great. So Laura, tell me when you have people come into the showroom. So let's talk a little bit about Cosentino as a company. So for me, I have a lot of clients that say, I want to use Caesar stone. And so I'm just going to go and choose a Caesar stone product. And then I'm starting to talk about the other companies that are available that offer different products as well for benchtops. So just give us a little bit of an overview on Cosentino as a company.
Yeah, certainly. So Cosentino is a family-owned company in Spain, and they have three main brands that they have here in Australia. They have Silestone as their primary brand, which has been around for over 25 years now. And Silestone, it's funny, it's actually a global number one brand in Europe and America. Australia is a little bit of a different market for them, and they did launch later here. So we are combating the likes of Caesar Stone and other brands in this market, but they've been around for an extremely long time. So we have that as our reconstituted stone, and then we have Dekton, which is our ultra compact surface, which is often compared to porcelain. And we have a range of different natural stone. So I can elaborate on those as well.
Yeah, we're going to go through, just for the listeners, we're going to go into those three different areas quite in depth, because I'm a massive fan of Dekton. And it is really, as soon as I mention Dekton to people, they go, oh, that's a porcelain product. It's like, no. So I'm so glad that you're here and you're going to be able to go into the manufacturing process and why it's different to porcelain. So when people come into the showroom and so forth, how do you advise people on how to choose a benchtop? Because obviously you've got 3 offerings. So how do you advise them in terms of what they should be looking for their benchtops? And we're talking specifically about kitchens, obviously.
Sure. So look, I think to have a really good idea on how they're going to use their kitchen is obviously the primary advice, as I'm sure obviously you know, are they cooks? Do they have a large family, or is budget a constraint? Are they happy to spend a little bit extra on something perhaps a little bit more precious like a natural stone? So to really have a good think about that as well. Also, I guess the design. So not only the colour choice, but something that is going to create longevity for the product. It's obviously not an easy thing to replace or to change a mind. So to really have a think about how they might be using the space in 5-10 years time, which fits perfectly with your mantra, Frances.
The forever home mantra, I know. Yeah.
But also as well things like light. So are they wanting a polished finish? Are they wanting a matte finish or a suede finish? So just really get them thinking about those kind of things. But ultimately at the end of the day, it comes down to what color and design they like.
Yeah, and I find that I go through those questions with in the briefing process with clients around durability and so forth, and someone will say, look, I just want natural stone because I really want to have a massive feature. And I suppose particularly some of the natural stones that you have, that feature nothing else is going to replace. That's such uniqueness, and so that they're going to go down that route no matter what, because it's just such a strong aesthetic feature that they want to have in their kitchen.
Absolutely.
And then I have others who are just so focused on durability because they know that their small kids are going to be knocking into it every 5 minutes, and who knows what crayons and textures are going to reach that bench top. So functionality is so critical. So that really determines the type of product as well. And then obviously, budget, like you mentioned. So there's so many things to think about, but I find that clients will sometimes say, well, I just want to use a Caesar stone. And obviously, as you and I know, Caesar stone is a brand rather than a product. And the product name, for listeners, if you're not aware, is actually a reconstituted stone. That's the generic term for that product. And then Caesar stone is a brand, just like Silestone is a brand sitting under the Cosentino family of products. So what are some of the things that you feel our listeners should be mindful of when they're choosing a benchtop? So we've talked about durability and functionality, but other things like slab sizes. I was talking to a client yesterday and he's got a 3.5 metre bench, and he said, I'm just not going to be able to cope with any seams. So that obviously really has an impact on the product that they're able to choose. So what are some of the other things that you find?
Yeah, sure. So I guess as well, if budget's a factor, and they're going for a thinner slab size, can that slab size be mited, and is that a factor into their design? So just considering that as well. Maintenance is definitely the biggest one. Many people don't realise how precious natural stone is, and there is a lot of upkeep on that. So you just need to be prepared for that. And also as well, I guess the design. So can that stone be molded into that type of design as well? So, can it have an exposed edge and still be in keeping with what you've decided to design? Budget.
Budget. Sorry, go on, Laura.
Yeah, budget's a huge factor, obviously, as well. So keeping that in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I was with someone the other day and she said she wanted copper cabinetry, and I was like, that's it's pretty hefty budget there. So, and that's where you've got to weigh up what are the things that are more important. But as you said earlier, a benchtop's not something that's easy to retrofit. It's not something that you can easily take out, depending on how the floor's been finished, whether the floor runs under the island bench or not. So it's really important to get it right.
Right.
So reconstituted stone is probably, I'm interested to hear your view, but certainly from my perspective, is probably one of the most popular finishes that people are going for. I mean, 20 years ago, laminate was the surface of choice. And probably about 10 years ago, stone, I found that reconstituted stone was really coming into the fore in kitchens. Then it went into bathrooms, and now it's gone into laundries. And now the thought of people having a laminate laundry are really the days of old. So just run me through how reconstituted stone is manufactured, and then we'll go into some of the specifics around silestone versus others.
Yeah, sure. So essentially reconstituted stone is and depending on the brand, but to speak for silestone, is a mix of different minerals, and it's held together with a binding agent, a resin. So in terms of the colors that we can achieve through that process, I mean, they're obviously quite artificial, but hence why they're so popular, because we can create beautiful colors that are on trend, and therefore making them popular.
And the other thing with reconstituted stone is that you're getting a consistent look. So I find that if someone doesn't like the fact that the stone may not be consistent across each piece, you know that with a reconstituted stone, what you see is what you're ordering, and what you see as a slab is what you're going to be getting. So if someone's very set on having something very specific, a reconstituted stone is the way to go.
Definitely. Yep, absolutely.
And I think the other area is, for example, a Calicut marble. As you said before, natural stone can be quite high maintenance. You have to seal it. And I'll talk about natural stone in the other episode. But for a stone like Calicut marble, which is quite porous, so it's not a great friend of lemon juice and red wine. Mm-hmm. But if someone really likes that look, I would then refer them to a reconstituted stone that has got that Calicut look with that heavy veining. Yeah. So they're still getting the look, but they don't have that maintenance.
Yeah, exactly right. Absolutely.
So I think from what I'm hearing from some clients that I've been chatting to, they feel that the reconstituted stone is almost like this godsend product, where it's stain resistant, it's going to be really, really durable, it's not porous. So just walk us through some of the misnomers about what reconstituted stone isn't.
Yeah, certainly. Well, look, it's definitely more durable than a natural stone, reconstituted stone, but no stone is invincible. Mm-hmm. But certainly with our product, we have taken measures to make it even more durable. So we treat most of our slabs with a coating called N-Boost. So it's a technology that they've developed where they treat the slabs, and it helps minimize even further the porosity of the stone. So, combating things like red wine stains, turmeric, lemon, etc. So look, it certainly is more durable, but all stone care is needed.
Yeah. And so what sort of care is that, Laura? What sort of things would you suggest?
Yeah, look, it's not much. We certainly don't recommend any harsh cleaning agents or anything like that.
Like Gumson.
Pardon?
Like Gumson, it's going to
Yes, exactly. Yeah, nothing like that. Look, hot soapy water, just keeping the surface clean and taking care not to leave, stains on there for days at a time. A big coffee ring, and just taking care of it.
Yeah, so with the N-Boost that you're talking about, does that mean that, because I would always suggest to clients, look, don't leave if your red wine, you've got a red wine mark on your bench, don't leave it there overnight. So is the N-Boost going to prevent that stain happening, or does it just give you more time to actually get to that stain?
It's certainly going to give you more time. I mean, over time, personally, I haven't tried it, but I would say not to do that. As I mentioned, no stone is indestructible. But look, I've got silestone on my benchtop, and I've certainly left things there for hours while we've had a party, and it's been perfectly fine. So whereas something like a natural stone wouldn't be that forgiving.
Well, no, you have to get to it straight away.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, Dekton is a complete different kettle of fish.
Yeah, we'll get to Dekton. So, and I think some of the other just in relation to the Soulstone reconstituted stone brand, and you said it before that it's the leading stone in Europe and the US, where here in Australia, Caesar Stone is the brand that I suppose got to the market first. But also Soulstone's made in Spain, I believe.
Yes, yeah, all that made in Spain.
Yeah, so... And then, a lot of the other products are actually made elsewhere. So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, it's one of the only reconstituted stones made in Europe.
It is solely in Europe, yes.
Yeah.
There are other brands that are partly made in Europe and other parts of the world, but we make all of our brands at our headquarters in Almeria in Spain,
which is massive. It's a massive place. It's like a city.
Mini. Yeah, it's absolutely huge. But that's such a great advantage to us because we have complete control over our stock, but also the follow-up service that we can offer from there as well. So, we've just got real control of our brand.
So tell me then, because I know everyone will be super keen to know, okay, so this leading product in Europe and the US, so what is the key core differences, I suppose, the unique things that Soulstone has compared to a product like Caesar Stone?
Yeah, well, and look, by no means am I going to shoot down the competition. To be honest, they're both really good quality products, which is really important because there are a lot of poor quality reconstituted stones out there. I think the top thing that makes both of them a good product is the minimal amount of resin that they have in them. So that really means they're not going to yellow over time, which is really important.
Great point. Yeah.
Yeah. But some points of differences for us, obviously, aside from the colours that we offer. So, people may like that or they may not. We offer all of our slabs in 20 and 12 mil, so not just select ones in 12 mil, which is great in terms of if you're wanting to just do a splashback or perhaps it's an area in the house other than the kitchen where it doesn't require a 20 mil slab. So flexibility in the thicknesses is definitely the first one. We offer the N-Boost technology on most of our slabs as well, which I've touched on. But also we have integrity sinks. So basically they're sinks that are carved out of one huge giant block of Soulstone. So there's no joins. So they're incredibly strong.
And they look beautiful.
They look stunning, yep. And they come in most of the colours that our slabs come in. So you're able to match them to the benchtop and have that infinity look, hence the name. Or you can have a contrasting one to a completely different surface or a different colour Soulstone. So there's some key points that we often get feedback on as to why we're often chosen as well. I think the warranty for us as well, so we offer a 25-year warranty on all of our products, but Soulstone being the first one to offer that. So kind of comes back to my point about how we have real control over our brand, and that warranty service is something that really demonstrates that. Yeah,
and I mean the fact that you're prepared to put the warranty behind the product, I mean that really says it in itself that the company really stands behind what they're producing. So
absolutely.
And look, I do have clients that would prefer to have something that's made in Europe versus some of the other countries where these products are made. So I think that that's a great differentiator as well. Yeah. I know that a lot of people are now veering towards Australian-made products. I don't think we'll be making stone anytime soon, but it's certainly a good offering there. Yeah. So, Laura, the other thing that I think is really interesting for listeners as well is just the difference between Soulstone and Caesar Stone, so some of the higher quality reconstituted stone manufacturers versus some of the more cost-effective options. I think a lot of people feel that they look the same, they feel the same, so therefore they are the same. So are you able to run through just what are some of the key differences and why it's worth spending a bit more to get a superior product?
Yeah, well, and look, I briefly touched on both of these points, but they are just so important and really the main ones as well. It's the quality of the product. So it's what's going into those slabs that, is obviously going to make the product have any kind of longevity over time. our product definitely has that, and some cheaper ones I can definitely say don't. And have
that in terms of the resin that they've got in them, so they've got more resin and
resin, yeah, but also other things in them. So not necessarily using, you know, natural minerals and things like that. And yeah, it's mainly the resin that comes down to well, it's cheaper to produce, and so often have higher percentages of resin. Yeah.
And so what's the disadvantage for people if they've got a high percentage of resin in the product? You mentioned before that, you know, it can enable the slab to perhaps discolour over time, particularly, I suppose, if it's in direct sunlight, which a lot of kitchens are. Are there any other reasons that the high resin is not a great thing?
Look, that's the main one. It's the disintegration over time. So it's not only like natural light and things like that. It's more heat. So if you're putting a pan, which you wouldn't do very often, but if you did, I mean, even if you put it on silestone once off, it's probably not going to do anything. But over time, anything that has a resin, it's going to yellow. In the cheaper products, that would be a real issue. So it's more the aesthetics of it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, that's good to know. Yeah. And so while we're still on reconstituted stone, before we start getting into the other two, you mentioned to me offline about this very exciting launch that's happening, because silicosis is such a hot topic, and I do get asked about it a lot in terms of the silicon that is in the reconstituted stone. So what should consumers be aware of with regards to silicon that's in reconstituted stone, and whether it is actually in soil stone?
Yeah, certainly. Well, look, this is definitely a whole nother podcast, so I'm not going to touch greatly on this, but I will say that the danger is in the fabrication of the stone. Firstly, but there's no danger to having reconstituted stone in your house once it's been fabricated. So that's where the danger lies. In terms of our new product and the way that we're moving forward as a business, we're actually launching colours that are silicosis free. So we're essentially replacing that element with other ingredients. The main one that we'll be replacing it with at this point is recycled glass. So we're launching 5 colours that will be hopefully arriving soon. Obviously, COVID has held things up a little bit, but really excited to have something to be able to go out to market with to combat that issue.
That's awesome. I mean, I think that's awesome on a couple of levels. One being that, I mean, I have a lot of clients that are really conscious from a welfare perspective. So even though they know that the silicon is not going to affect them in their home with their benchtop, it's, well, I care about the people that are manufacturing this product. So that's awesome that you're getting rid of that particular ingredient. But even more exciting, I think the fact is that you're using recycled glass, which is then, you know, such a great sustainable story as well. And as you know, I'm a bit of a sustainable junkie, so that's just fantastic on so many levels.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
Lots of boxes. Can't wait.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
can't wait. So that's really hot news, actually, because that's super new. I mean, as Laura said, they haven't even arrived yet, so I haven't even seen these, and I will be really excited. And I'm assuming then that will roll out to a lot more colours.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
You got to start with your most popular.
Yeah, and just getting it right. I mean, that's obviously Cosentino take a lot of care into the colours and the products that they launch. So really taking the time. This has been a long time coming. It hasn't just been a quick fix. It's been something that obviously they've been developing for a long time. So they'll continue to do that slowly but surely.
Fantastic. Oh, look, that's awesome, Laura. Now, I really want to touch on Dekton. Now, Dekton, for those of you who've been following me, you know that I'm a big fan of Dekton. My clients are a big fan of it. Laura knows that I'm a massive fan. So Laura, give us the rundown on Dekton in terms of what it is, how it's made, and maybe some of the applications.
Yeah, certainly. So Dekton, it's often compared to as a porcelain. So just to kind of put that out there. the difference between Dekton and a porcelain. Dekton is actually classified as an ultra compact surface, and the name suggests because it is a more compact surface than a porcelain. So porcelain is slightly kind of biscuity in the center, whereas Dekton's completely solid the whole way through, making it that little bit stronger.
So that's obviously going to make it a bit more durable.
It is, yeah, definitely. So Cosentino had, the Silestone, their reconstituted brand, which was inside the home, and they really wanted to create something that they could use for exteriors. So they actually created Dekton initially for facades, and then soon realized because of its durability, people were bringing it inside the home. So they've invested a lot into the look and feel of it, and we now have almost 50 colours here in Australia that we offer in polished and matte, and we see it in pretty much any application that you can think of.
It's incredible.
Because we offer, yeah, it really is, like any surface that you can think of, and you can use Dekton on it. Because we offer so many thicknesses, so we offer 4 mil, which is perfect for furniture, joinery, any internal cladding as well. It's a very lightweight, so even seeing it in projects where weight is a restriction, like lifts, for example. So they're kind of some surfaces. We've got more standard surfaces like kitchen bench tops, obviously, stair treads, but also flooring as well. And then some slightly more obscure ones like swimming pools, saunas, we also do a lot of as well. And then of course facades as well. That's a part of what we do.
I mean, the thing with Dekton is it's so the slab is
3.2 by 144.
Yeah, you're going to make them bigger. If we made them bigger.
Be quite hard to start fitting into jobs, I think. Yeah.
But I think there is that that belief that it is like a porcelain. So just hearing you now, it's, obviously stronger. I know I had a client saying, well, can I have, can we dance on it? And I said, you can absolutely dance on it. And the thing that, people also, you talked about it being used for joinery. So if listeners can imagine that you can actually have it on the front of your cabinetry doors and, it's fingerproof resistant, it's scratch resistant. So you never have to be wiping down and so forth, because I do have clients that can't handle any of the fingerprints. So that's an awesome product to be able to use. So just run down some of the benefits, because it's just, the list is just so long in terms of what are some of the benefits and the that Dekton has, some of the features that make it so incredibly awesome and different to a reconstituted stone.
Yeah, certainly. So in terms of for a kitchen application, the main one comes down to durability. So it has virtually zero porosity. So unlike a reconstituted stone where there's still an element of porosity and care that is needed to look after the surface, Dekton, like I said, has virtually zero porosity. So if you left your red wine stain on there for a week, it could be wiped off, or it could be cleaned with, something a little bit more substantial, but it would certainly come off. So durability is number one. Heat resistant as well. So unlike anything that has a resin like a reconstituted stone, Dekton doesn't. So it's actually the process behind its manufacturing. It's a mix of different natural minerals that are liquefied and baked, and they're actually pressed together with a giant press that I'm told is the equivalent of 2 Eiffel Towers, so 25,000 tons at the time of production. Yeah, so that's essentially what holds each slab together. So there's no resin, so there's no issues with discoloration when heat touches the surface. So great for cooks. Great.
Awesome that you can, and I mean, that's one of the things that my clients love about it, the fact that it's stain resistant, but also that you can just slide your saucepan, particularly an induction bench top, it can all be completely seamless and you just can slide it across to the bench. It's just such an awesome feature.
Yeah, absolutely. And even, with design restrictions like having it as a splashback, there's no minimum distance that's required to be away from the burner. So
heat resistant.
Exactly. Yeah. So look, they're the 2 main ones is that we see from a functionality point in the kitchen, and then obviously just the care and maintenance of it is very low, so perfect for cooks and families, etc.
And I think the other thing that I love about it is it's UV stable, so it's not going to fade over time.
Right.
I always tell my clients that it's graffiti proof. You know, if you're in a family home and the kids inevitably get the textures out and they can scribble all over it, and you can just basically wipe it off.
Yeah.
I know when. So go ahead. Sorry.
Nail polish. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say, I know when we've had the kitchen masterclass that I've been lucky enough to have in the Cosentino showroom, and we've done demonstrations of what Dekton's like, and you know, the nail polish, you can actually get it off with acetone. It's just incredible. I think that's nail polish is such an evil thing that gets on anything, you can never get it off, and I think that really shows just how awesome Dekton is. I think the question that I get asked consistently is, okay, well, that's awesome. I love it, love the product, but how much more expensive is it going to be? Do you want to just run through that?
Yeah, it's not overly more expensive per square meter, so that's a good positive.
It's similar to reconstituted stone, even.
Pretty similar. It's probably about 10% more depending on the color you choose, but you might have an entry-level Dekton that's less expensive than a top-end silestone, for example.
Yeah.
It's more the fabrication of it. So because it is a denser, stronger product, it's obviously more time-consuming to fabricate. So it depends on the design. If you're doing something a little bit more straightforward, it can be, 10 to 20% more. Or if you're doing something more complicated that has mitered edges or, extravagant cutouts, it could be 20 to 30% more at the end of the day. So it's not hugely greater, but it definitely, if budget is a factor, it's definitely going to be more expensive. Yeah.
And I think the other thing is, from a design perspective, if we've got into undermounted sinks, that we can still have the grooves put in to create a drainer on a Dekton as well as a reconstituted stone.
Yeah, you definitely can.
Yeah.
But again, it's going to cost more to fabricate.
Of course.
Yeah.
But that also then comes down to the aesthetic. I always love the integrated drainers into the benchtop, just because it effectively is a benchtop. Aesthetically, it looks more streamlined. So it's not that much more, and I think it's definitely worth it.
Yeah. And look, something I suggest as well to people who are looking to do that, but if it does come back that it's not feasible, is just to tilt the bench design. So you've got a slight slant to that drying area back into the sink, but it's not carving out drainer grooves, which is far more achievable in a reconstituted stone. Yeah,
no, that's a great that's a great tip. So I think we've probably covered off Dekton. Look, it really is. It really doesn't take much when I'm talking to my clients about it, and I sort of explain all the benefits as you have. It's like, it's just a no-brainer, unless budget is a really big constraint. And I think just the flexibility in the slab size, if you want a super thin bench top, the finishes, and actually just on the reconstituted stone, what I also love about silestone is you got that beautiful suede finish. As well as the satin, and Dekton now comes in a really high gloss, which I know in Australia we're not quite there yet, but that was a few years ago in Europe, so it'll take quite a few years for it to come here, and it just brings out so much more detail with the gloss actually.
Yeah, definitely. Like with Dekton, colours will either be a gloss or a polished, or they'll be a matte, whereas silestone, they come in both, so either the suede or the polished finish.
Yeah, and the suede, such a beautiful finish actually. It's almost like a hone. Yeah, it's just gorgeous. I'm actually not sure whether the other manufacturers do such a beautiful suede finish. It's really gorgeous.
Yeah. I'm not going to comment on that one.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the natural stone product offering. I think it's most people would think that natural stone, you go to a stone merchant and you choose your slab. And so as part of the Cosentino offering, you've got the natural stone products in the sensor range. So do you just want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, certainly. So we have actually now two natural stone offerings. So we've had sensor, which I'll touch on in a moment, but we've also just launched softly because of COVID, our natural stone range. So to start with, sensor has been around in Australia now for about 7 years, and it consists of granite and quartzite. And all surfaces we treat with something, coating that we developed called SenGuard. So natural stone, yes, it can be very precious. Granite is a hardy natural stone on its own anyway, but with the SenGuard that we treat it with, it actually means that it has virtually zero porosity, like Dekton. It is heat resistant up to 300 degrees as well. And because of that, it can actually be used for exteriors as well. So it's always been a slightly different natural stone offering in that it doesn't need that level of care that marbles and things do. So we have 9 colours here in Australia, and we're just about to launch 2 more. And then they're beautiful. They're so different. There's so many different. You've got some really striking ones and some more subtle ones. But yeah, another beautiful option as well. But I'd probably, in terms of cost, in terms of fabrication, in terms of the way that it performs, I'd put it closer definitely towards Dekton than I would a reconstituted stone or a more precious natural stone.
So it's almost like you're getting a Dekton finish, this super durable, hard-wearing finish, but it's a natural product, which is just fantastic. And I know I've used some of them. I'm, a fan of a few of them. And they're just beautiful. So, and then in terms of pricing, are they sitting at the Dekton sort of end, or are they a little bit higher?
They're a little bit higher. They probably start at the mid-range of Dekton and then go a little bit over that. Definitely, once you start getting into the more the rarer finishes, then they definitely are more than a Dekton, and probably sit more in what you'd expect for a middle of the road natural stone.
I mean, some of them, I know some of my favorites in the natural stone range is, the ones that almost look like a petrified timber, and they've got these incredible colors, this beautiful, really soft pink. And look, it's not for everyone, and some of them can be quite busy, but as a feature, absolutely spectacular. I think that's also something we forgot to mention, that Dekton can be used outside as well, which is fantastic when you're wanting to have your outdoor kitchen and have it the same material as inside, where reconstituted stone is not for an outdoor application.
No, that's right. Yeah, because of that resin element. But yes, because not only facades is Dekton applicable for, but yes, exactly right. Al fresco areas, even paving near swimming pools themselves.
Table made out of it.
Exactly. Furniture.
So, it's indestructible.
Almost.
Almost. Well, almost. I know I'm probably a bit loose with that word indestructible, but yeah, it's great. So I think that's just been such a wealth of information to give people on the 3 products. I'm not sure whether there was anything else that you wanted to.
Well, we had the just lastly the natural stone. So I mean, Cosentino have 9 quarries that they have around the world in Spain and Brazil, and they also have access to a plethora in Italy, where they've been bringing in natural stone for years into other parts of the world, and we're lucky that we've just launched our natural stone range here. So far that includes natural stones like Carrara marble, super white, Elba blue, tundra grey, so just getting some really nice beautiful natural stones in. So it's something we're doing more and more of, and they definitely sit in the area of they're extremely precious. They need to be taken care of properly.
Even with the guard that you put on top of them, the treatment that they get, like your Carraras.
So Sensor, which is the brand that we have for our granite and our quartzite, that's treated with SenGuard. A natural stone, we're just bringing it into Australia. It's not treated with anything. So the natural stone that we have under our Sensor umbrella, because of the treated slabs, they're essentially like a gloss finish, whereas with our natural stone, we're able to offer the polished but also honed as well, and that's because it doesn't have anything on it. So
that's fantastic. So Laura, where can people go and have a look at the Cosentino range of products? So you got showrooms nationally?
We do, yes. So we're in every major city throughout Australia, and here in Melbourne we have 2 warehouses, which isn't the case across every other state. So we've got kind of one in the north and one in the south. We've got a beautiful showroom that we launched about a year and a half ago now, and that's our main showroom here in Melbourne, which is in Heatherton, which is close to a whole lot of other suppliers. So if you're ever in the area, it's good to make a day of it and pop in.
It is. And so, and in terms of sampling, I mean, obviously the website's got all the different colours that are available across all the products, but I believe you can also order the samples online as well.
Yeah, you definitely can. You can, like you said, yeah, you can order them online, or you can pop into our showroom, and we have a beautiful showroom manager who will take care of you, and she'll be able to help you out with samples.
Yeah, no, the showroom's fantastic. I mean, I've been lucky enough to be able to host events there, and it's the great thing about going into the showroom, and I certainly encourage all my clients to do this and would encourage listeners to do it, is choosing an entire bench top, whether it's going to be for your facade or your bench top or your whatever it's going to be, particularly in a Dekton application, off a 10 centimeter sample, I think is risky. So I always encourage my clients to go and have a look at the slab, and Cosentino really welcome people. You can go out to the back, you wear your hard hat, your safety vest, and you can basically go and have a look at the slab, see what it's going to look like in its 3 meters, in its full length. And you can really get a feel for the movement and just how much veining or colour or whatever it is that's in there. So I'd encourage anyone to do that regardless.
Absolutely. And wear closed-toed shoes.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Don't rock up in sandals because you will be turned away. Oh, Laura, that's been so fabulous. Thank you so much for coming on today. I think that's just an incredible wealth of knowledge for people looking at bench tops and just really understanding the differences, and that there's so much more out there than just, reconstituted stone.
Yeah, fabulous. No, thank you for having me. It's
absolutely welcome. All right. Thanks, Laura. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of My Forever Home. If you're ready to renovate or build a new home and you need help to create a beautiful and functional forever home, you can book a chat with me directly at whitepebbleinteriors.com.au/chat. Have a great day.